You're listening to Closing Market Weekly, the show where real estate closings meet real world insight. With your host, Phillip Hogan, and every week we break down the trends, tools, and the timing that keeps deals moving forward. Let's dive in. Hi, I'm Phillip Hogan, host of Closing Market Weekly. Many of you know me as the CEO of Signing Services of America. Since 2016, I've worked with hundreds of professionals across the mortgage and real estate space, from title agents and escrow officers to lenders, attorneys, and notaries. One thing I've noticed in this industry, we often talk with each other, but not to one another. That's why Closing Market Weekly was created, to offer a space for honest, practical conversations about the real issues, challenges, and trends shaping the closing market. Today's guest is someone I've had the pleasure of knowing over a short period of time, but in that short period of time, we've got to know each other really well. We've talked about a number of signings and client projects, and I'm excited to finally bring one of our behind-the-scene conversations to the podcast. Today's guest is Carmalon Batiste, a seasoned mortgage executive with over 24 years of experience spanning both forward and reverse mortgage sectors. Carmalon currently serves as the Vice President of Operations at Traditional Mortgage Acceptance Corp, TMAC, where she oversees cross-functional teams, streamlines underwriting processes, and drives operational excellence across the organization. Since joining TMC in 2021 as underwriting manager, Carmalon has played a role in enhancing the company's risk management framework and scaling its operational capabilities. Her promotion to Vice President of Operations reflects her deep industry knowledge, commitment to innovation, and ability to lead high-performing teams. Prior to TMC, Carmalon had held progressive leadership roles at Plaza Home Mortgage, including underwriting team lead, operation manager, and assistant vice president of operations. In these roles, she was contributor in optimizing loan processing workflows, implementing compliance protocols, and mentoring emerging leaders. Carmalon is an active member of the National Reverse Mortgage Lenders Association, NARMLA, where she contributes to shaping industry policy as a member of the HUD Issues Committee and serves on the board of directors. Her dedication to advocacy and regulatory engagement underscores her commitment to advancing responsible lending practices and consumer protections. Carmalon, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Phillip.
Yes, very impressive background. Very impressive background. You know, I had to tell the audience, Carmalon, we were talking off camera and we were chatting and preparing, and Carmalon was doing a great job at just going through the things we wanted to plan to talk about. And I said, well, we're not recording yet. She said, we're not recording. Oh my goodness.
I just thought,
And
I thought
so
you had started already.
I know, but you spot on. I just couldn't disturb you because you were so smooth, and she's ready to go. So so again, welcome to the show. We're glad to have you. Let's just dive right into
Mhm.
today's format. So, with such an impressive background, why don't you share with us where did you begin this industry? Where did you begin working in this industry, and particularly with the reverse mortgage product?
So with the reverse mortgage product, I had, like you mentioned, had been in the forward side. I started in that in processing. I did a little bit of closing. Then I got into underwriting
Mm-hmm.
in San Diego, California, at a company called Genesis Financial.
Mm-hmm.
And towards 2010, when things started to really slow down on the forward side,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people were laid off, and I was one of those individuals.
Mm.
So I spent a year working for the county of San Diego in their assessor's office in the business division.
Mm-hmm.
Was on track to become an audit appraiser in that division, and then I got a call from my previous manager,
Mm-hmm.
and Plaza Home Mortgage was looking for another underwriter in the reverse mortgage division.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no experience with FHA, reverse mortgages, nothing, but the BP in charge of division was looking for someone kind of without any experience as well, so that they could kind of train them and bring them into the fold. And so I joined Plaza around 2010, 2011.
Uh-huh.
And that's where I dipped my toe, then dived right in
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
into the reverse mortgage industry. And it was really interesting. And I really had wished once I knew how it worked that I had known about it,
Uh-huh.
when my
Yeah.
grandparents were still living,
Uh-huh.
because
Uh-huh.
this would have been an amazing tool for them as well.
Right, right. So it sounds like it was perfect timing for you as well as your employer for you guys to sort of like meet at the right time, and thus
Hmm.
your career was launched.
And
Is
at
it?
Plaza, I'm sorry, it was a reverse division at a forward mortgage company.
Hmm.
So you got to see a little bit of both, but I was mainly in the reverse division.
Hmm. So when we talk about forward and reverse mortgages, let's just be clear. The forward mortgage
Mhm.
is.
Your conventional, okay, but the word forward is used is because it flows
Hmm.
differently than a reverse mortgage. A reverse mortgage flows in reverse in sense because on a forward mortgage, the money flows from the borrower to the lender in
Hmm.
terms of the mortgage payment. On a
Hmm.
reverse mortgage, it goes the other way
Hmm.
to where the money is going from the lender or the servicer to the borrower, either all at closing or in monthly payments or from a line of credit.
Hmm.
Same thing
Excellent.
with the mortgage balance. On a reverse mortgage, your balance will go down
Hmm.
as the borrower makes the payments.
Hmm.
On a reverse, it flows in reverse. Your balance increases because there are no payments required, but your balance is accruing the interest in MIP.
Hmm. Excellent. And that's why I asked you come to the show, Carmalon, because you're an expert in this space, and many of our audience does not know what a reverse mortgage product is.
Hmm.
And more importantly, as you said earlier, if you hadn't known about this when your grandparents were alive, may they rest in peace, then they could have benefited from this product.
Right,
and
correct.
and and I think that what we don't know sometimes can hurt us. And so you coming to the show talking about this hopefully will not heal us, but give us some options and give us options to share with our grandparents and possibly our parents,
Yes,
if that time comes.
yes.
So I have a few questions that I'd like to ask you, and we call it the rapid fire segment. And so we just want to fire away. So what's one closing mistake you'll never forget?
And I want to say, I cannot think of a mistake,
Okay,
but I've come across a difficult closing situations.
share with us,
Okay.
please.
So there's one in particular, a borrower, because of their previous occupation
Hmm.
within some type of law enforcement agency,
Hmm.
assisting with putting people, bad actors, catching bad actors.
Okay.
This borrower did not want their name to appear on the recorded document.
Uh-oh.
And so this person took steps to create a trust, with another party as trustee. So your vesting would show the trustee of the trust. But with a reverse mortgage, a HECM particularly, which is a FHA insured reverse mortgage, the security instrument has to be signed by the trustee and the borrower. The trustee and the trust are not parties to the loan.
Uh-huh.
Their signatures are required to encumber the property, but the borrower signature is still required.
Uh-huh.
So we went round and round with, what about this? The handbook says this, but the borrower signature is required. So ultimately, this person had to make the choice of closing the loan with his signature on the signature line
Right.
or not closing the loan.
Uh-huh. Wow. I'm sure it took some time and a lot of and a lot of back and forth for
Yes.
the signer to finally understand. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, the law is the law,
Right.
right?
Right. And I'm sure they were comparing it to a forward mortgage
Mm-hmm.
where likely only the trustee signature is required.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, great. What's one tool or system you swear by?
Oh, I don't really have one that I swear by. The LOS systems we have are, what the company has, and they're great.
Mm-hmm.
We have Quantum Reverse right now, is what we use.
Mm-hmm.
Very useful. It has a lot of integration tools that where it talks to FHA connection in
Mm-hmm.
terms of pulling a case number,
Mm-hmm.
appraisal logging,
Mm-hmm.
those types of things. And a tool that we do use as well is if on a what we call a HECM refinance, to where a borrower is going to refinance an existing reverse into a new reverse.
Mm-hmm.
And on those types of loans, you need to show a benefit to the borrower. So you don't want to have churning of just, the borrower being sold another reverse mortgage, every so often. So there's certain standards that should be met in terms of showing the benefit to the borrower, where it's the comparison of the closing costs to the
Mm-hmm.
what they're getting from the new loan
Mm-hmm.
versus the closing cost of the new loan,
Mm-hmm.
or the increase in their proceeds, or how long it's been seasoned. And so there's tools to capture the information from the existing loan and compare it to the new one and calculate those ratios for you. And then for at TMAC, we have also enhanced that tool to show, maybe how long it would take the borrower to capture what it's costing them, right,
Mm-hmm.
to get the new loan,
Mm-hmm.
to show that yes, it's going to benefit them.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. So technology has certainly helped to make the industry much more efficient. And time obviously is everything, and the more we can save time, then the more we can get on to the next part of a particular file or possibly take
Hmm.
on another file. So I certainly
Yes.
hear, with all the guests that we have interviewed, it's always, technology has really played and had a revolutionary role in really helping to improve the efficiency of the industry. And
Yes.
so obviously, with that being said, with technology being, the preference of systems, the next one is it has to be, the choice is paper or digital, and I'm sure you would say digital, right?
Oh, yes. I mean, digital makes things more, obviously, like you said, expedite, it helps things go
That's
faster.
it. Yeah. Hmm.
Um, there's always this, for me anyway, a little bit of nostalgia with paper. Because
Tell
I
us,
come from the days,
share
when you
with us,
had a
please.
loan file, when you had the left side and the right side, and you had your little rubber thummy and you're flipping through the pages, working your files. So, I mean, I miss those days when things kept going to being more paperless,
Uh-huh.
you could
Uh-huh.
refer back to stuff.
Uh-huh.
So, but digital makes things easier, but there's pros and cons to everything. And so, with the digital, there are issues with maybe especially senior borrowers who are
Mm.
not tech savvy.
Mm.
We have borrowers who do not even have an email address.
Mm-hmm.
So, sometimes the technology is there to use, but some individuals or roles cannot use that technology.
Mm-hmm.
And then with, new technology, you have to also look at due diligence to minimize risk of it being used inappropriately.
So when you have a borrower who may not be tech savvy, or I mean to the point where they don't have an email, how do you get around that? What do you do?
So, for example, most applications are taken over the phone,
Mm-hmm.
and then the application package is sent email to the borrower
Mm-hmm.
to e-sign,
Mm-hmm.
email address for that.
Mm-hmm.
So we do use a third-party vendor to that will take the printed copy of the application package, a notary basically,
Mm-hmm.
and go to the borrower's home
Mm-hmm.
and sit with them while they sign the entire application package, and then take the package back
Mm-hmm.
and then scan it and email it to us and then send us back the originals.
Okay.
It's almost like a closing it situation to
Mm-hmm.
where, original documents go to the borrower's home and they sign everything in front of someone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If it's not one way, it's another, right?
Yes, yes. It takes a little bit longer, but
Yes,
yes.
but it's the bottom line is getting the deal done, right?
Right,
And
exactly. It's still
and
getting
and
it done.
yeah, and I love that. It's finding ways to win. And over at Signing Service America, we're always finding ways to win. I take the concept of Signing Service America. We're a member on a football team, right? Where there are many different players, if you will, different positions, and everyone on the football team has the vision and the goal of scoring a touchdown. And so when we're given the ball, we are held with the responsibilities of scoring a touchdown. And we have to sometimes you have to think things a little differently and look at it a little differently so that you
Hmm.
can score that touchdown. But at the end of the day, it's about scoring a touchdown for the team. And when the team scores a touchdown, everybody wins. And so
Hmm.
you just demonstrated, how you have to work around situations to get to score that touchdown, and I love that. And so our final segment question of the rapid fire question is that what's one trend in the industry you think is overrated?
That was a difficult one for me to come up with. So I don't really have one I think that is overrated.
Okay.
Um,
if not
this
if not overrated, what do you think is what trend do you think is more challenging than others, or what's one of your favorite trends? I know you've been in the
oh,
industry for so long and you've seen so many different things and so many different systems, right? That has been, helpful and it has evolved and is to the point where, the what you used to use and the trends that you used to follow are no longer in vogue. And you said it earlier is that, working with paper
hmm,
is,
hmm.
is something that you really enjoy doing and that you sort of like miss that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. So I think as well, like processes that help automate
Mm.
tasks are trending as well, I think,
Mm-hmm.
to make things easier to do in terms of the operations.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but at the same time, with that, you have to always double check. You can't totally depend, I don't think. And it could be just me. Again, I miss the paper, right? I miss thumbing through things and checking things.
Right.
So it's in my nature to double check even a system that's, because the systems have glitches, right?
Yes. Yes. They
You
sure
know,
do.
and they stop working for blips of times, so that is, I think, what is trending is more automated, processes to
Mm-hmm.
pull information from one system into another.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you gotta still double check.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, great. And so we're moving on in our show, Carmalon. And by the way, our guest is Carmalon Batiste, who is the vice president of TMAC. And she is a wonderful, savvy individual, vice president operations of at
Yeah,
TMAC.
I was gonna correct you on that.
Yeah, I know. Let's get it right, Philip. Let's
Yes.
get it right.
Yes.
Yes. And so again, thank you for being on the show and thank you
Hmm.
for bearing with us here as we move through, some topics that are interesting but may also be a little bit I don't know, they could be sometimes a little bit overburdening, but we want to be balanced here and give our audience a little bit of both sides. And the other topic that we want to talk about is we have a segment where we want to use as our main discussion, so to speak. And so the trends in the reverse mortgage space are very different than the trends in the forward mortgage space. So, Carmela, would you speak to what are the trends you're seeing in the reverse mortgage space, please?
Well, one of the trends we've been coming across is once we have the title and we're doing title, there will be an item on title in which the homeowner has signed an agreement
Mm-hmm.
with an entity
Mm-hmm.
um, in exchange for funds,
Mm-hmm.
that they may need at
Mm-hmm.
that time. And then what's in the agreement requires a certain commitment from the homeowner that they're not aware of, and that runs with the property and it runs with any successors to the property. Um, the one of those particular kinds of items was providing funds to the borrower in some type of advertisement. The borrower would sign an agreement, but within that agreement, they were saying that this entity would have first right of refusal to act as the real estate broker to sell the home if the borrower decided to sell the home.
Mm-hmm.
No matter if, even if the borrower maybe had lost the home in a foreclosure situation,
Mm-hmm.
the new owner, the lender would still have to use this entity to sell the property.
Mm-hmm.
And so to get the items removed, they would maybe offer to subordinate the item,
Mm-hmm.
but to get it removed, you basically had to request a payoff demand, and you pay off this entity, and it might have been more than what the borrower got in proceeds from this party.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think the way that it was phrased, it was kind of in a sense to what they maybe would have made in commission is what they were being paid to remove the item from title.
Mm-hmm.
And those, so there's since we first came across those, there's been instances to where there were legal cases filed,
Mm-hmm.
um, and those items were deemed to be unlawful, you know, and because the borrower shouldn't have to pay to have those things
Mm-hmm.
removed.
Mm-hmm.
And so, being that we deal with senior borrowers,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they're looking for the borrowers who have a need. So the reverse mortgage will help, three types of borrowers: those who have a need, or those who are looking to enhance a lifestyle, or those who are looking to plan.
Mm-hmm.
So those borrowers with that need, you know, and don't understand the reverse product, or are maybe a little scared of it, or have family members who are warning them against it, will look at other avenues to get the funds that they need and come across these that are not in their best interest
Mm-hmm.
at all.
Mm-hmm. So Carmalon, how do you deal with a family member who is against the reverse mortgage, but yet the homeowner is all for the reverse mortgage?
As a lender,
Mm-hmm.
and particularly at TMAC, so most of our production is from the wholesale channel. So we have approved broker partners who submit the loans to us.
Mm-hmm.
So in those situations, the broker is our customer and the borrower is the broker's customer. So we don't have direct contact
Contact.
with the borrower.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and even on the retail side, the loan officer is usually the one talking to the borrower.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I know originators do try and talk to the family members and to explain how the reverse mortgage works.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, they always suggest like the borrower has to do counseling,
Mm-hmm.
and it's it's suggested if they want family members on that counseling session, have them on the counseling session to
Mm-hmm.
ask questions about the product and how it works.
Mm-hmm. And that counseling session seems to be, a wonderful opportunity for all parties to come together, to converge, to talk about this process and to break it down
Hmm.
to, components where people understand it and
Hmm.
are not afraid of it. And,
Hmm.
and I think that, when you don't have that counseling session, there's a lot of fear, uncertainty,
Hmm.
and gosh knows what else a person could be experiencing. But after the counseling session, or hopefully through the counseling session, there will be some like that aha moment that family
Yes,
member will have to say, now
yes,
I have a better understanding of this product
yes,
and I'm feeling a little more comfortable with it. Is
yes,
that, yeah, that's the intended. And does the counseling session often work
yes.
from what's told to you?
It's required on every FHA reverse mortgage, so
Mm-hmm.
you cannot proceed
Mm-hmm.
to even start processing a loan application until the borrower has done counseling. And
Mm-hmm.
in certain states, counseling is required to be done before you even take the initial application.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it does help give the basics of the program, which could lead and assist the borrower or their relatives with additional questions for the originator as well.
It's kind of like a safety stop, you know.
Hmm. Hmm.
And let's just go, let's just stop, let's just pause here and give everybody opportunity to have a conversation about what we're doing here, what the product is all about, what are the
Hmm.
benefits, what are the pitfalls, what are the different approaches that one can pursue when it comes to this particular product.
Hmm.
And that way it gives, particularly, the family member. And like I said, I think the household member or the homeowner may be more for it, whereas the loved ones are,
Mm-hmm.
particularly when it comes to your parents, your grandparents, you're really loving, you're very protective, you don't want to see them get hurt. And
Mm-hmm.
what you heard about the reverse mortgage could possibly cause them some harm. So therefore you're completely against it. Whereas the counseling session, you're invited to come into the counseling session to hear from those who are trained to talk about this product as to how it can help and what exactly is the plan here.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully that counseling session will work, and folks can be able to move forward, and therefore the household member gets their needs met. So we
Yes.
have time for any kind of real stories that you like to share.
So, yes, so the story I was sharing earlier when I thought we were recording, I believe, was, can correct me if I'm wrong, if I did not share this earlier on the recording, but so there are situations to where someone is thinking of how a forward mortgage works,
Uh-huh.
um, and thinking I can do the same with the
Mm-hmm.
reverse.
Mm-hmm.
And so the instance was an individual who previously worked with a law enforcement agency,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
and this person did not want their name to appear anywhere,
Uh-huh.
um, not even a signature line
Mm-hmm.
on the recorded document, because they believed someone could find that document,
Mm-hmm.
see their name, and find out where they lived.
Uh-huh.
Um, so on a forward mortgage, I believe, so in this instance, the person created a trust
Uh-huh.
with someone else as the trustee. So
Right.
that means on the vesting, they would show that trustee's name. On a reverse mortgage, you have a signature for the trustee and you have a signature for the borrower. I believe on the forward, you just have the trustee signature. So this person did not want a signature line with their name on it, uh, but it's required for FHA insured reverse mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
And they had taken steps in different areas of their life to just be really just under the radar. But in this one particular situation, there was no way around the signature line
Mm-hmm.
on the security instrument because the trust or the trustee is not a party to a reverse mortgage. Then the current lifetime beneficiary of the trust is the borrower on a reverse mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
So after quite a bit of time, a lot of back and forth, a lot of emails, a lot of digging into the FHA handbook
Mm-hmm.
on the guidance,
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, it was either you're going to have your name on the signature line or you're not going to close the reverse mortgage.
It's either or, right? It's just
Like,
it's just the way it is, right?
it's still it is what it is. But I have one more story,
Sure.
and
Go
it's
ahead.
really short. But so dealing with seniors, uh, came across a loan where the property was vested in the borrower's name and in the name of their pet cat.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right.
Want to make sure the cat was taken care of, I guess.
Right. Okay. Okay.
But of course, the settlement title partner was able to take care of that with some forms eventually. But you run into some scenarios with senior borrowers to where they take steps, that they believe are part of their great plan,
Right. Right.
and or do things maybe not consistently, such as, you know, change their name on one thing but not on everything. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not consistent.
Not consistent.
Or they
Right.
decide they want to go by the name people call them and not their given name
Sure. Sure.
all of a sudden.
And that's a great story, and thank you for sharing it. And as a homeowner who loves pets, right? And there's nothing wrong with wanting to make sure that your pet has comfort, particularly as they get into their senior years. And certainly we're not saying that you shouldn't have some kind of allocation for your loved pet, but we just want to make sure that those allocations are realistic and that they are actually doable for what you want to occur with your pet, and then in addition to what you want to occur with your worldly possessions. And that way there's no there is no difficulty in having those desires carried out. So, Carmelon, thank you for those great real world experiences. And gosh, this has been some wonderful stuff. So I'm sure we can go on and on and on because you've been in the field so long and you've seen so many different things, both in the forward world as well as the reverse world, that our audience would love to just keep you on the show and hear more and more. But you've got some things to do, and we don't want to take up too much more of your time. So we have the tip of the week is that you've been in the industry for a number of years. You have been very successful, and you have touched the lives of many people that you have worked with, worked under, and worked for, and those that have worked with you. And so, if someone wanted to get into the reverse mortgage space, what suggestions and tips would you provide to help that person get into this industry?
There's so many opportunities, especially through NORMLA. There's webinars, there's materials. There's a great book called Understanding Reverse that's
Mm.
updated every single year.
Wonderful.
Um, and it's a really short read, and I personally read it myself,
Hmm.
and I read it within almost the span of a pedicure appointment. And it's
Okay.
broken down
Wow.
into basic language
Uh-huh.
for, a possible borrower or even an originator to break down what is a reverse, how does it work,
Mm-hmm.
how can it be used,
Mm-hmm.
and then goes into the details of the products.
Mm-hmm.
So just education
Mm-hmm.
is very helpful, and then working with partners, with experience in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's some originators who may have partners like title, settlement agent partners that they work with on a regular basis, that are not familiar with the reverse mortgage. So when it gets to the closing time, there's usually hiccups, so just ask questions often and early.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that people may not realize is the reverse mortgage was not subject to the changes from TRID. So there's no LE, there's no CD for a reverse mortgage. We still have to use a HUD-1 settlement statement.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have an originator who's new to the industry, who's using a title partner or settlement agent partner who's not really familiar with reverse, and then we get to closing and they realize, oh, we haven't used our software for a HUD-1 since TRID.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they have to dust that off
Mm-hmm.
and use those skills again, which
Uh-huh.
can, take a little bit of time to find someone in the office that can still do it.
Uh-huh. Great. So then let's just say let's go ahead and spell out what does normal mean again?
Um, National Reverse Mortgage uh, Lenders Association.
Okay, and those are annual conventions, right?
Yes, so the biggest one is once a year. That's actually coming up this October in
Mm-hmm.
Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
But then they also have two smaller ones on the East Coast and the West Coast,
Okay,
regional
great.
conferences as well.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Thank you for that. And if someone wanted to touch bases with you, Carmalon, to learn more about the reverse mortgage space, or possibly want to do business with you, would you please share how a person can contact you?
Mhm. So my email address at
Mm-hmm.
TMAC is my first and last name. So Carmalon
Mm-hmm.
dot
Mm-hmm.
Batiste at
Mm-hmm.
traditionalmac.com.
Okay.
So it's Carmalon
Mm-hmm.
dot Batiste at traditionalmac.com.
Mm-hmm.
And then my direct number is 858
Mm-hmm.
428
Mm-hmm.
1089.
Mm-hmm. There you have it, folks. Kamala, thank you so much for coming on to the show today to talk about the reverse mortgage space and the reverse mortgage product. And my goodness, we have learned so much from you and the experience that you've brought to the industry. We wish you all the best in your career. And folks, you can like, follow, and share us. You can like, follow, and share our content on our YouTube channels, Spotify, as well as Apple. Carmalon, thank you, and we'll be in touch real soon.
Okay, thank you so much, Philip.
All right,
Have a great
bye.
day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to the Closing Market Weekly. If you found this episode valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone in the industry. For more insights from the front lines of real estate closings, we'll see you next week.